What do you think of Whoopi Goldberg saying it's worse to be a black person in America today than a woman in Iran?
But I think it's important we remember there are places much darker than this country and people who deserve rights.
Not everybody feels that way. Not everybody feels that way. Listen, I'm sorry. You know, when you think about the fact that we got the vote in 1965.
Okay, they don't have free and fair elections in Iran. It's not even the same universe.
I think this is a great first step toward getting the Democrats back to sanity. And a second good step would be, we got to do something about The View.
Bill Maher just dropped a bombshell that nobody on The View saw coming. This is not just another Hollywood feud. This is a full-scale war between two television giants, and someone is getting absolutely destroyed. The drama is real. The receipts are devastating, and the truth will genuinely shock you. Stay right here. This is only getting started.
Whoopi Goldberg saying it's worse to be a black person in America today than a woman in Iran. You know, I say we were talking about the trans issue before, and the New York Times really has come over on that to the foot of the sensible, liberal, not crazy woke position. I think this is great first step toward getting the Democrats back to sanity, and a second good step would be, we got to do something about The View. I really believe that. I mean, could you just
it's huge in Iran, though.
When I mentioned The View in Iran, all with the same head cover, you can't even tell which one is which.
Bill Maher did not walk into this fight quietly. He came swinging with a sledgehammer. His demand is simple and brutally direct: cancel The View. Remove it from television, permanently. And once you hear his reason, you might actually agree with him. It all exploded when Whoopi Goldberg made one of the most jaw-dropping comparisons ever heard on daytime television. She claimed on live TV, with a straight face, that black Americans in the United States have it worse than women living under Iran's brutal Islamic regime. Let that sink in for a second. We are talking about a country where women cannot step outside without a male guardian's permission. A country where refusing to wear a hijab gets you beaten by government police. A country where women are literally imprisoned for wanting basic human freedom. Whoopi compared that to life in America. And Bill Maher said, absolutely not.
They don't adhere to basic human rights.
Listen, here's the thing. Let's not do that, because if we start with that, we have been known in this country to tie gay folks to the car.
Where the Iranian regime is today in 2025 is nothing compared to the United
black people. So
it is not even the same. I couldn't step during this.
Wait. That's not what you mean to say. It is the same.
Yes, Whoopi thinks it's the same. She thinks America and Iran are the same.
Bill Maher heard Whoopi's argument and immediately called it what it was: rhetorical nonsense dressed up as social justice. Because here is the thing about the Democratic Party that Bill Maher has been screaming about for years. They keep doing this. They keep stacking one group's suffering against another group's suffering as if pain comes with a scoreboard. And every single time someone pushes back, challenges the logic, asks one honest question, the entire argument suddenly changes direction. Nobody answers the challenge. Nobody defends the comparison. Instead, the conversation magically pivots to something completely different. It is a debate trick, a cheap one, and frankly, people are exhausted by it. Across the entire political spectrum, left, right, center, more and more Americans are watching this happen and calling it out loudly. Bill Maher is simply the most famous voice doing it.
If you challenge the brutal regime, Whoopi thinks that's pretty much how black folks are treated in America. You absolute disgrace of a human being, Whoopi, to show absolutely no regard for the Iranian women who risk their lives to challenge the Islamist government, to minimize their struggle and compare it to your fever dreams about oppression in America.
Bill Maher is crystal clear on one thing, and this is important. Nobody is denying that black Americans have faced real and serious struggles in this country. Nobody. Systemic racism is real. Racial inequality still exists today. Those conversations are absolutely necessary and deserve to be taken seriously. But Whoopi's specific comparison falls apart the moment you examine it honestly. Black Americans today can own businesses, build generational wealth, hold elected office, become CEOs, run for president, and pursue any dream they choose. The playing field is not perfectly equal, and that matters, but the fundamental freedoms exist. Now compare that to Iranian women. They wake up every single morning in a country where the government decides what they wear, where they can travel, who they can marry. Their entire existence is legally controlled and violently enforced. One system frustrates, the other imprisons. Calling these two situations comparable is not just wrong, it is deeply insulting to both groups.
But I think it's important we remember there are places much darker than this country and people who deserve rights.
Not everybody feels that way. Not everybody feels that way. Listen, I'm sorry. You know, when you think about the fact that we got the vote in 1965,
okay, they don't have free and fair elections in Iran. It's not even the same universe. They can't go out of their house. Women.
You know what? There's no way I can make you understand.
Let me try something. It's like try to reverse roles with a black person in this country, let's say, because I think that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Just try to understand from their point of view. From that point of view, this country does not do them well. Does not go.
Bill Maher has been saying this for years. The View is actively making public conversation worse, not better, worse. And here is the painful historical truth everyone needs to sit with. Yes, Black Americans were horrifically denied the right to vote in this country until the Civil Rights Act of 1965. That injustice was real, devastating, and deserves full acknowledgement every single time it comes up. But and this is the part Whoopi refuses to say that happened in the past. Meanwhile, Iranian women are being arrested right now today, in 2025, for showing their hair in public. One is painful history that America has fought to correct. The other is an active, ongoing, present-day human rights emergency. Bill Maher cannot understand how Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar, two women with massive global platforms, genuinely cannot see that critical and obvious difference.
Yes, thanks, Joy. Black folks in America have it as bad as the people in Iran. Thanks for that, Joy Behar, you simpleton clown. Did you know people in Iran can be arrested, tortured, and executed for peacefully protesting against the government?
Bill Maher is not just frustrated with Whoopi's bad comparisons. He is questioning something much deeper and far more troubling. Why does this keep happening? Why do The View hosts repeatedly push arguments that fall apart under 5 seconds of basic scrutiny? Bill Maher's answer is uncomfortable but honest. It is not about genuine concern for Black Americans. It never really was. It is about ideology. It is about a deep, burning resentment toward anyone politically different from them. Under a different administration, you would simply never hear these arguments made with such fire and conviction. The real struggles of Black Americans are being weaponized, turned into political ammunition, to attack a sitting president rather than actually solve problems. That is not advocacy. That is exploitation. It is calculated. It is cynical. And according to Bill Maher, it is one of the most shameful things happening on American television today.
Above any matters of politics or what's right or wrong, the one thing I know for sure about America is this. It's run by mean girls. Mean girls in the press and in politics and in life. And when they smell blood in the water, the lust to finish off a vulnerable person will never be denied.
Bill Maher has been warning his own party for years, and they just keep refusing to listen. The Democratic Party allowed people like Whoopi Goldberg to become its loudest, most visible face, and that decision has been absolutely catastrophic because regular voters, moderate Americans, centrists, independents, everyday working people do not connect with that energy at all. They are not leaving the Democratic Party because they stopped caring about progressive values. They are walking away because the messaging feels preachy, condescending, and completely disconnected from actual real-world problems. This ideological stubbornness is widely seen as one of the biggest reasons Democrats got crushed in the 2024 elections. And Bill Maher is raising the alarm again, loudly, because if the party does not change course, if it keeps letting its most extreme voices dominate, the 2026 midterms are going to deliver another devastating and entirely self-inflicted defeat.
And The View is a particularly weird place to do a translation.
It's called The View?
It's called The View. It's not called The Facts.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting that it's called, I don't think they meant this when Barbara Walters invented it a long time ago, but it's The View.
Well,
that's the problem in America.
But
there is one view,
right, and
one
that's clearly
true opinion, and everybody else can go sit in the corner.
Bill Maher finds the name itself almost laughable at this point. The View. Think about what that name actually promises. A program called The View is supposed to represent many views, diverse opinions, honest disagreements, real debate. That was the original vision. But what actually happens on that show today is the complete opposite. The moment anyone dares introduce a perspective that does not match the approved ideological line, they get shut down fast. We watched it happen live. Alyssa Farah Griffin, the show's token conservative voice, calmly and reasonably pointed out that you simply cannot compare the suffering of women living under Iran's theocratic government to the Black American experience in the United States. She was not wrong. She was not rude. She was just honest. And Whoopi and Joy Behar refused to even hear the argument. No rebuttal, no debate, just instant dismissal. That moment exposed everything. The View is no longer a conversation. It is a performance.
They don't want your pity. And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class? I mean, again, I got my popcorn. I don't know why people did what they did. I see all these reasons, and so, okay, time will tell. But what do y'all think?
I just, I know that as a country, it's very difficult for people to believe that racism and misogyny, they're just alive and well. I think that we don't want to think that about ourselves, our neighbors, our friends.
Bill Maher saw the 2024 election results and was not remotely surprised. The American people looked at everything the Democratic Party had become and made a clear, deliberate decision. Kamala Harris was supposed to be their strongest card, a former prosecutor, a historic candidate, the sitting vice president. But voters saw something very different. They saw 4 years of near total invisibility. They saw a border crisis handed directly to her that became a national embarrassment. They heard the rambling, disconnected, word salad answers that became painful internet memes watched by millions. They noticed she consistently avoided tough interviews where real questions get asked and real answers are demanded. None of it was hidden. All of it was visible. And on Election Day, American voters across race, age, and gender delivered a verdict that was loud, clear, and absolutely impossible to misinterpret. The era of performative politics had officially expired.
You love to speak truth to power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to bullshit. The Democratic polling firm Blueprint told Democrats months ago that black voters, aka their supposedly liberal base, were more likely to find the president too liberal than too conservative. They also found that voters didn't just want Harris to distance herself from Biden, they wanted her to distance herself from what they believe the entire Democratic Party has become, a Portlandia sketch. Yes, there's a lot to not like already about the new regime, but maybe take 1 week to ask what you did wrong. The basis for Democratic campaigns has become, we're the smart people. That we know from the get-go. No need to look into that. We know that a priori, which is a Latin phrase the red hat people.
Bill Maher stepped back, looked at the full picture, and said what millions of Americans were already thinking but afraid to say out loud. The View is not just bad television. It is genuinely damaging to public conversation, to honest journalism, and ironically, to the very Democratic Party it claims to support. By choosing outrage over accuracy, by weaponizing Black American pain as a political tool, by silencing reasonable voices like Alyssa Farah, griffin the moment they bring common sense into the room, the show has consistently misled its own audience while driving away the broader American electorate. And the consequences are impossible to ignore. Kamala Harris did not lose because of bad luck. She lost because millions of voters rejected exactly the brand of politics The View represents every single day, loud, preachy, emotionally manipulative, and completely disconnected from real life. Until the Democratic Party finds the courage to say enough, to distance itself from these toxic, self-serving voices, and actually start listening to ordinary Americans again, nothing changes. The losses keep coming. The party keeps shrinking. And Bill Maher, the man they called a traitor for telling the truth, will keep being proven right. That is the most uncomfortable part of this.